Who's hot? Tony Gonsolin keeps on keeping up. My boy is 9-0. Wins matter. Win live. Make wins matter again or something like that. He's leading the MLBs in the earned run average at 1.58 by a 0.01 over Joe Musgrove. Who, did you know the Padres are still in the league? It's very weird. Like, this schedule is dumb, and we've only played the Padres 3 times.
Yeah, and the Padres have also played like 5 more games than we have. Make it make sense, considering we played 32 games in 30 days or whatever it was.
Dumb as hell. But, man, Tony did not look good to start the game here on this fine Tuesday. Figured it out. Went to the slider until he got the feel for that splitty, and then he put up another fine game, something we would not have seen from him over the last year or two because Dave would not have given him that opportunity. But new staff ace. I mean, at this point, who else are you going to go with right now? The Dodgers starting rotation has kind of been a hodgepodge and a little inconsistent throughout the entire year. But Tony, man, the dude is just finding a way to get stuff done, even when his pitches aren't working. Like today, split finger not working. He figured it out, started going with slide pieces. It's kind of phenomenal to watch him work, trying to figure things. His evolution this year is pretty wild to watch. In terms of the All-Star game, I had asked you last week, how many more starts does he need? How many more good starts does he need to cement himself as an All-Star game member? Let's call it that. Has he cemented his place in the All-Star game? 100%. 100% now.
You heard it here first.
9-0.
If it doesn't happen, blame that guy.
Who's somebody like Snicker?
Franco says, how's Tony the ace? How is he not? Riddle me that.
9-0,
Franco.
leading the team, leading the league
ERA.
in ERA. He's been a stopper. He has stopped 2 3-game losing streaks for this team. He just comes in, he saves the bullpen. He is straight up the stopper, and he is the absolute ace right now because, once again, Kershaw missed time with injury. Julio's right there, but Julio is on an absolute tear right now. But there are times you don't really know what version of Julio you're going to get. Because if one thing goes not his way, which it happens in Major League Baseball, if something goes not his way, there are times he can unravel, and he's gotten a lot better at pulling it back, paring it back, and getting back to business. But that can be his undoing from time to time. Right now, nothing is rattling Tony Gonsolin, and you're even seeing some swag from this dude as he's walking off the bump. It's pretty fun to watch.
I like how, no matter how well he's doing, he always seems like it's his first, first year in the big leagues. In post-game type of things where he's like, just trying to do basic things, trying to, just make good pitches. And
they taught him
him
the
and Matt
company
Beatty
line.
went to the same school.
They taught him the company line, man. They taught Doogie that line as well. He went off script pretty quick.
I will say that I told you guys before this. I told you before the show. I had $100 on Tony Gonsolin's Cy Young candidacy at plus 6,500. So I'm gonna need him to keep this production up, even though he doesn't have the name to win a Cy Young title. Because yes, believe it or not, that matters in Major League Baseball because the voting system is stupid and outdated, and they have a bunch of dinosaurs voting on awards.
Yep. Voting is always dumb.
That's not me calling Bill a dinosaur. Bill Plunkett is not a dinosaur, by the way. Beautiful man.
It's a good thing, you bring that up, the idea of how long he can keep this up, because I was thinking about this. At this point, when we go back a couple years, friend of the show, our good friend Ross Stripling, was killing it. He was having a fine year. Not this good, not as good as the Catman is, but Strip was having a good year. He made the All-Star team, and he pitched in the game, got rocked a little bit. Second half of the season, fell off a cliff. Barely was relevant on the in the postseason, on the postseason roster. They didn't really go to him all that much. I worry, again, because Stripling told us he was on the show a few times, and he admitted he was gassed. He made that All-Star team. He had mentioned it probably would have been smarter for him to kind of just accept the berth. You're not going to do that, obviously. You're not going to be like, oh, I appreciate it, but I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to play. Mookie did that last year, but guess what? He's already a 5-time All-Star. My boy is good. He don't need to be there. But right now, Tony is at or approaching a career high in innings pitched in a year. You concerned for the second half, and if he makes the All-Star team, by the way, he's not going to start the All-Star game, I think, either way. But you have any concern kind of leading up to that and then into the second half? Like, is the clock, can the clock strike midnight? Obviously it can, but
I mean, it always can, and that's always going to be a concern for everybody. So, I mean, you're just going to have to kind of work with what you got. I think the main difference being Tony's never been a over 100 inning guy. That's a big problem, and that's something that they're going to have to consider. I feel like that's something they're going to have to consider relatively soon.
Yep.
Do they not? Because correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he's ever pitched over 60 innings in his career in a single season. And
no.
you're on pace right now to be like, hey, can you pitch close to 200 innings this year? Like, will you be good with that?
Yeah.
I think over 200 innings is what he's on pace for right now. And so he hasn't pitched. He just passed the over 200 innings in his entire career, big league career.
As of today, he's at 69 innings pitched or something like that. Again, 9-0. 1.58 ERA. It all looks good and all looks, hunky-dory.
Every start from here on out will be his career high in innings pitched, and we are in June.
Yeah.
And that is not a good thing. So that's something that I'm like, oh, that's a significant worry, because it's not necessarily that he can't do that. It is that he has not done that, and that's a problem. He has not done that in the big leagues. You got to figure at some point that they change course, because they're not going to just ride him until he dies. But they can't afford that.
Now we're getting into that concern area that we had last year, where, last year mid-season, this team just before the All-Star break lost Kershaw. They lost Bauer, who was eating up innings for them, and Dustin May was already lost a few months before, and they had zero choice but to ride Walker Buehler and Julio, and we saw them break down in the postseason. So Walker's already out. You see now kind of the ramifications, potentially those ramifications of going as deep in or as many innings as he threw last year. Now kind of catching up to him this year. Julio, you also got to worry a little bit still that last year was his first year approaching, or surpassing the 175 innings pitched mark. Like you're saying, Tony, even as much as they protect him, is well on his way to 150, 175 innings, plus, and they don't necessarily have a way to protect him. At the same time, you can't really take him out of the rotation too much, because you worry about how much of a field pitch that split finger is.
I'm sure it's a lot of a field pitch. I mean, anybody in baseball will tell you, when you don't have like that consistent grip on something, and that's one of those pitches where you don't have a really consistent grip, that could be a problem. That could be something that you have to feel out. Changeup is another one of those things, by the way. But
for sure,
I don't know. I mean, that could really lead to a situation where you're like, hey, maybe they do go after a big starter. Maybe they do, because you're at a place now where you don't have Walker Buehler, probably till more towards the end of the season. You're gonna have to probably ease up on you are gonna have to ease up on Tony Gonsolin at some point. You can't just ride him into the ground and then figure it out later. Tyler Anderson is pitching out of his mind and way above his pay grade right now. There's so many things that you're relying on. Add in the fact that, like, you also don't want to run Julio into the ground again either. And, like, you're at a situation now where you're strongly thinking, hey, we might need an actual big league starter here, not like a Mitch White, not a Ryan Pepio, not a Michael Grove, not an Andre Jackson.
I mean, those dudes are all fine to
fill in,
help pick up some innings. But when you start doing those guys, and you start taxing your bullpen, and then you have struggles in the bullpen. You have, when you also have Craig Kimbrell not really doing his job so well. Man,
you convinced me. The Dodgers are trading for an elite starter.
Yeah, y'all got any more of them 60-game seasons? Think of how much more or less stressful that was on us as like people who do this and also be fan.
Yeah, we do that. We do that.
This is a tough gig, guys. This really is tough sometimes. Why do you think Brooke drinks? Well, I mean, that's a whole other part of the therapy session. But here we go. We're moving on. The simple button on the Tony concern is time will tell. It's easy to always go that route. I've done it time and time again. I am cheating by saying time will tell. We don't know.
Time will tell. Easy cop out.
Easy cop out. What Tony's going to look like. He's not a max effort guy. That helps. Split finger's not really a max effort pitch. The more he starts mixing in that slider,
Yeah, but
that
you're
does
talking
become a
a
thing.
significant innings jump.
Yeah.
Significant.
This is massive.
Like, when has that
massive.
been done?
And
like
on top of
50
that,
innings to 200?
Injuries. Well, I mean, basically almost everybody from 20 to 21, who did surpass.
Yeah, but I mean, like
200.
before life.
In the before time, in the long, long ago. Just saying.